What is going on, guys? Welcome to the Game of Life podcast, where each and every Friday, Saturday, or Sunday discussing that gaming shit each and every time we can record. I'm one of your drill. With me is my eloquent friend Arthur Thomas. What's going on, man?
I just typed in the chat. I can't spell eloquently. Fuck.
Was Grammarly like,
I don't know this. I'm typing in chat in Zoom now. I'm like, I won't get a red squiggle. There's a red squiggle.
It gives you that sad emoji, like that, like, we need to work on this.
No, I don't use Grammarly. I'm just using the regular like Zoom chat.
Yeah,
we're talking. We're talking for the podcast. I was like, yeah, fancy word, and I'm like, I know to spell it, and then like I proceed to spell it, and I'm like, fuck, that's not right. And I'm like, no, I can do it right. I can do it right. Just let me type it, and I'm typing in chat here. I'm like, fuck, there's a red squiggle. I can't spell it.
You're like, it's fun to play games.
Yeah.
There's like a dialogue decision, and eloquent is the word.
Yeah.
What do I say? And with me is Choich in the building. What's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. Another beautiful day. Happy to be back and just, happy hunting. It's been fun. So
Yes. And speaking of happy hunting, we're going to be talking about the Monster Hunter Wilds, I believe is what it's called, right?
Yes, it is.
The last day for the beta here on this recording day of the recording. And Arthur and Church had the chance to sink their teeth into it, so we're going to be talking about that here shortly. But first, if you are watching this, hello, be sure to like, subscribe on the channel, and then also like the video so it goes around the internet. Of course, it's going to be at G4L Podcast. That is where you're going to find us. So at the @ symbol, G4 number 4 L Podcast. So we're going to find us, and Arthur does the game streams for that, channel, of course, on YouTube. And as far as all other gaming for the Gamers for Life stuff, you can go to linktree.com/gamers4life. And here at the Gamers for Life podcast, we read the news while you can watch or listen to what you choose by clicking on the links to the time code in the description of the episode, so you can go to what segment you want. It's not many segments, so you might as well just watch the whole fucking thing. Here at the Gamers for Life podcast,
We don't got much today. Fuck you. Stick around. I don't know.
This is just a standard old fashioned chat of the gamers. So I hope you enjoy. So without further ado, definitely Monster Hunter Wilds. Got to have the conversation about that. That's kind of one of the newer topics here. And you guys play a little bit of the beta. So without further ado, I'm going to throw this to Church. Give me your experience on the beta so far.
Yeah. So Monster Hunter is a series that's just always recently been near and dear to my heart in Monster Hunter World. It got me into playing Rise and just fall in love with what Capcom has been doing, I guess, since the PSP era. So far for Wilds, just everything about it has just been fantastic for me so far. I mean, nothing's near perfect, but I see the vision that they're trying to accomplish, and there's the little improvements of the game so far. So even in the title screen, right, you start the game off with like a cool cutscene that's, brings up the main menu. It shows your quest giver, your palico, and even your character to a certain extent. And I've tested it too, and you can change the costumes of your palico or your character. So every time you log into the game, you can just see the progression of your main character in itself. So those little touches and details I just really love. And then even before getting into the main quest, let's talk the character creation. My God, fantastic. Arthur, feel free to jump into this point too as well. It's just the level of customization in this game is very impressive. Even to the point when you're done creating your character, there's like an Excel workbook sheet that you can see like 4 pages of every thing that you can adjust in that's quite in the numbers, meaning you can just post this on the internet and somebody can copy a character creation that somebody has customized and made. So I've seen Joker. I've seen Yennefer from Witcher 3. I've seen somebody look exactly like Johnny Depp. I've seen somebody create a Pixar character from Frozen. I've seen Elsa. It's just people going crazy with the creations, and it's really cool because that detail pays off. and the cutscene of the opening title of the game, the cutscenes of the game, and even when you're simply cooking your food, you can see the details of your character. So I would highly invest, spending a couple of hours creating something that you love because you're going to see it, and that's really cool because you're going to spend that time with that character throughout the game. Now you can change hairstyles, color, skin tone, voices throughout the game as you play it, right? But there's some things you can't change gender unless you like get something that you can restart your character again, just start from scratch, like item that you can get in the game. But it's really cool, and I like that they're spending this much detail into the game, and just the textures and animations are beautiful. So the first thing I noticed, you kind of start off the game in a campaign mission, which is probably likely the very first mission of the game. Even then, the way they approach in story is different. The cutscenes look gorgeous, but the transitions from cutscene to action are seamless, right? Your character starts running on, well, I call them a chocobo, but I think it's called like a striker or whatever, and a secret. Thank you. And then you all of a sudden just playing the game, right? They make it very cinematic, I guess. I guess I forget the right word I'm looking for, but set pieces are pretty on point in the game for the first time, and it seems cool. You get character interactions. They said they're going to emphasize campaign heavily in Wilds for the first time, which is cool because campaign is really just a tutorial. So if you guys make it through the campaign of the game, which is maybe like 15 20 hours long, right? Which is not a lot of time when you're playing Monster Hunter. You finally get to appreciate, like, okay, it's time to play the game. So that it was really cool that they're emphasizing the campaign and moving forward with that. And then it just kind of opens up to multiplayer. Took a minute for me and Arthur to figure out how to link up on multiplayer, but once you understand what you're supposed to do, you just link up parties and start a quest, and you can join effortlessly in the game. I think the unique thing about Wilds in itself is that it's constant open world and fighting. You can go explore the world, the lands, post a quest because the quest giver Alma, she's with you entirely, so you can go from one quest of a monster to the next. Send your friends an invite and just have them join. So the ability of like having to hunt, loading back to the main hub, preparing for the next quest, posting it is now streamlined completely. You can just keep on going and hunting to your heart's content. And they even have features in the game that the ecology of the ecosystem plays a factor. So if you hunt a certain monster in an area over and over again, it would actually go maybe extinct or very low. And if that monster is not involved in that ecosystem, there's a new predator that comes in. Like, well, or maybe this other monster becomes the predator that attracts other species to show up. So the effect of being a hunter because you're really just a botanist in the game, right? That's what you are as a character. It has some effect. So that's really kind of cool. And they've just kind of touched on a lot of stuff that I really love. The weapons, the ones that I main so far have little nuances. So they, like for my Switch axe, right? The Monster Hunter World had like a lot of impact for it, right? But then the Monster Hunter Rise, the one for the Switch game, had a lot of mobility. So they brought some of those new movesets back to the game, which allows my axe I have the same amount of impact, but then I have the mobility, and then I have some new moves for some counters, which just makes seems like the weapon's a powerhouse. So the love and attention to each new weapon is felt though. It's pretty cool. And going along with the new ability called Focus, which is just a new way to create wounds on monsters that you can like now hyper focus on to do a ton of damage. And each focus attack has a cool animation move that you can do. So it's really cool. I'm liking it so far. And that's just kind of the overview of the game that I have just from like every aspect of what the beta can do. I mean, the cooking animation is amazing. Like, you can, choose
Do not play. Real quick PSA for people. I recommend this to everybody. Don't play a Monster Hunter game hungry. You're gonna want to cook up a giant slab of meat. I'm serious, y'all. If you've ever seen a Monster Hunter game, best cooking mama. garbage. Monster Hunter, just straight facts, has the best cooking animations in gaming. Period.
Yeah, it's fantastic. We didn't even get to the chef, which are the cats who make the best meals. And it's really cool the details in cooking. So you could choose your protein, your vegetable, and let's say like a topping. So, your protein have different stuff. So meat will give you more attack, as fish will give you more defense, and that you can see those items in your dishes, and you could drizzle it with honey on top, which gives you more vitality, or you could do a mite shell, which gives you more attack power. So every item you choose, you can see them getting added to the dish, and it just makes what people love about cooking even better in the game. And it's crucial. You do it before every hunt, and you can cook anywhere in this motherfucker. So like after every hunt, you're cooking. It's really cool.
People that think cabbage is disgusting, you can't do anything with it. You've never played a Monster Hunter game. Go fuck yourself. That grilled cabbage looks
amazing.
So fucking good. I can buy a head of cabbage $1 a pop down the street. I'm just like, fuck, I want to recreate that fucking
they
thing.
clearly haven't been to Ono Hawaiian barbecue. Fuck out of here.
And one question for Jarrell, just for perspective. Sorry, real quick, Church, because you're talking about the weapons. Jarrell, just for perspective, have you seen Monster Hunter? Like, you know what the weapons look like?
I know some of them look like some of them are large weapons, at least just from screenshots, but that's like a variety of like, I don't know, maybe like, on, like the 3DS or something. I don't know.
Okay, I was gonna say kind of replace some with all. I don't know if you saw my screenshots in chat. The weapon I'd be using, a battle horn, which is kind of like a bard-like weapon. It's a saxophone that's Church. What would you say? 9 feet tall?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Basically.
Oh yeah, I saw a little bit of your stream. I said he's got a saxophone on his back.
I have a saxophone straight up from like Looney Tunes. So sorry. So just real quick, Joe, I didn't want him like talk about weapons. You're picturing Skyrim, like a little axe, a little shield, like any other fucking fighting game. I'm like, no, dude. Like, hey, you heard of Sephiroth or Berserk or Cloud's sword? It's like every weapon in this game was made from that same blacksmith as Cloud's great sword. So just keep nice. Perspective. Picture a PNG, but you click that top right box and just drag it.
Right. Hephaestus is making these weapons, my friend.
Yeah. I still heard that first creature like I have a saxophone. This is fucking huge. Like I knew how big the Monster Hunter weapons were, but just to see a 1-for-1 saxophone fucking 9 feet tall. I don't know. Sorry, George. I just make sure we're weapons that people that aren't familiar with Monster Hunter just know what. Like, do not picture like a Skyrim size sword. Fuck you. Yeah. Everything is Cloud. So everything is Cloud's great sword size.
Yeah, exactly. And then dude, I can't wait to see when you hunt monsters over and over, you gather material and you can make weapons based off of that monster. So just Bard always has some cool variations of like, is it a saxophone? Is it some type of other instrument as you get another monster? It's really cool what these weapons will look like after you like 15 monsters in, or what, if you want to do ice damage, fire damage, if you just want to do high attack damage, what that looks like in the end. And that's the beauty of Monster Hunter, man, because you can get grinding for the things that you love to get better, and you see an immediate improvement is just fantastic in the game. And it's just worth it every single way. And because it helps you to the next fight, you're going to need it to fight the next boss. So
before you kill that, before you think you could fight that T-Rex, you're going to have to kill a couple raptors. Just how it goes. Before you kill Donkey, you gotta kill Diddy a couple fucking times.
Jesus,
I'm not sure how that connected.
Donkey Kong.
Okay. Diddy Kong.
Yeah, I'm like, how do we get there? Okay, I know he's popular right now.
Yo, Arthur, you fucking invest in Johnson stock? What are you talking about? Baby oil?
Yeah, but he just slowed down on the drink. How do we get to Diddy?
Arthur.
Good. No, but I was gonna say, Arthur, since kind of give me your perspective on Monster Hunter. Obviously, I know you've played Monster Hunter for many years as well. Kind of give me your take. How does this compare to the others, etc.?
So my first Monster Hunter was Monster Hunter Worlds. There's definitely a correlation in when I started playing Monster Hunter and when it came on Game Pass. But Monster Hunter has always been a game that just looks fun to me from the outside looking in. So when it came on Game Pass, that was really fun to play. When I first started playing Monster Hunter not Drill, Church was definitely describing it as like boss fight the game, because it's not like, I mean, yeah, sure, if you've no lifed it and you're going against the very very first opening area, you might feel like cool and badass as shit. But the fighting mechanics that Church described, it definitely holds true in this game, which is like this game is like boss fight the game. Like everything's a mini boss or a boss or a boss's second form. It's just the combat's awesome. It's the combat coming into it. Like if you come at this like a platinum game, like I'm just gonna just attack, dodges for cowards, attack, you're gonna get your shit wrecked in. So it definitely, there's like a learning curve, but when you start to know patterns and when to dodge and how, if you hit, like if you have a big enough weapon, doing a headshot mid attack will stun the giant building size monster, which is great because both times I did that in a huge crucial fight, I just lucked the fuck out. This lightning dragon that can one-shot us was about to one-shot us, and I was just fucking jamming out on my saxophone, and when I'm gonna fucking a headshot, I was like, oh, it fucking worked.
Saved our lives.
Like, what'd you do? Oh no, man, I just was fucking, I just hit the crescendo. Fucking I don't know. But Monster Hunter Wilds, definitely an amazing looking game. I'm already window shopping this thing. Drell, day one to play. The game definitely has some fun features in the PS5. Of course, I don't really constrain my cranium to a headset anymore, except for you guys, because you're worth it sometimes. But otherwise, I got the PS5 controller using as a speaker. But Monster Hunter Wilds, a couple things to note is that's kind of hard to get used to, but you can still adjust. Is these chocobo secret? They're called secrets, but they're spelled SEIKRET. So it's like secret. Oh my god, secret. But they're always in auto drive. Like they're always in go. So it's like it's a kind of a cool thing, Joel. Because if you remember the Far Cry series, in the Far Cry series, you can have your whatever car you're in just go in auto drive and it just starts going to your destination. It's like that, but in animal form. So, but sometimes you're trying to loot and go this way. The controls get kind of finicky and you just like, fuck it. And you just jump off. The other thing too, it's like, Drill, picture the cars in Far Cry auto drive mode, but they're always in drive. Like they're always in first or second gear. Like you hop in a car, cool, we're fucking going. You're like, whoa. There's a thing over there. And you're like steering it. So sometimes there are ways to like have your auto drive mount speed up, slow down, and stop. But sometimes you just kind of forget about that and you're like, fuck it, I'll just jump off and walk over there myself. So those controls you can use too, but otherwise this game's fun, man. One thing to talk about, character creation. Let me hit send in the group chat.
Oh,
I
do want to say that you can adjust the auto drive in the settings.
You can.
Yeah, it's very toggle on and off. And that's something to say about this game later, just the complete customization in terms of controls in terms of HUD. It's very in depth. You can kind of get everything set up the way you want. If you don't like how something works, you can probably change it. So it's very nice.
Good to know, because having my Chocobo just always in fucking second gear, it's like, whoa, dude, sometimes neutral and first is cool. Style it back. So good to know you can do it in settings. But character creation, I haven't played a game where the character creation was as clean. I don't mean in terms of like variety and options, but like how good it fucking looked. Like I'm just laughing. So I put in our group chat. I unknowingly made Tyla. That wasn't an intention. I was just wait, where have I seen this before? Oh yeah. And it's just really cool to again play a game like this where you could just really make your character. One thing I will add to the note of all the many examples, the crazy creations that people have made. Frieza Church. One video was someone made Frieza, OG Dragon Ball Z, like final form Frieza in Monster Hunter Wilds. But the game has a ton of play styles that you can try. All different weapons, variety type of Church was saying, the bow, the blowgun, and a big big thing too with this game that is, I want to say, a new feature. Correct me if I'm wrong, Church. You can have two primary weapons, whereas before you would just pick one and go out on a mission. But now you can have two primary weapons and swap sort of on the fly. It's not exactly as seamless as pressing triangle like it is in most games, but it is really, you just hop on your mount, hit a button, and poof, you hop off because your mount has like a backpack to it. So that immediately makes it, I think, a lot funner and freedom to its players that feel like they committed to the wrong weapon. Because like Church said, you can plan to go hunt this thing, and there's a chance of a random event happening where a bigger thing just shows up, kills or fights the thing you're going to hunt, and be like, oh crap, I don't have maybe the best equipment to fight that bigger thing that just showed up. It's like the end to that new Jurassic Park movie where that T-Rex that can go invisible is like about to kill the main characters, and that aquatic dinosaur just shows up and eats it. But what if that aquatic dinosaur didn't leave and now wants to eat you? It's kind of like that sometimes. And so having a second weapon can help, depending on your situation. But I just overall had fun. Like I said, Church, like I said, knows a lot more in-depth mechanics throughout more of these IPs than I have since Worlds. But I will say, it just is fun to be like, yo, dude, you brought a gun to a saxophone fight. Fucking moron. But it is really good. The game is gorgeous, Dro. Like this game is fucking gorgeous. I think I've seen people online, PC people do a PC people do of like, oh, I have 59.9 frames, not 60. I don't know. I'm playing on console. That's y'all's fucking problem. Master race bullshit. I don't care. On PS5, it runs just fucking fine. So I don't know. There's some people, it goes with the clickbait articles. Oh, Master Hunter Wilds unplayable. Why is it unplayable? I'm only getting 58 frames. So
yeah, it's just a justification if you spend like hundreds of dollars on a video card. Why isn't it doing what I want it to do? So yeah.
But yeah, it comes out late February 28th, 26th, don't quote me. But real quick, to tie in something we were talking to before, we were talking about, of course, the delayed launch of Assassin's Creed Shadows, and Church was like, yeah, I might not get the game day one. I'm like, dude, you got 2 weeks till Monster Hunter drops. I don't fucking know about that, man.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, Monster Hunter is going to take priority over that any day of the week. So it sucks. I think I think you were saying that Horizon dropped still in that same period too, right? The remake.
Oh yeah. So the beta, the open beta dropped for PlayStation Plus customers Monday, October 28th. Then the open free beta became open available to everyone, Xbox, PS5, and Steam users on the 31st. The same day that the Horizon Zero Dawn remake dropped. And holy shit, like me, a lot of people just forgot that game came out. There was one article that said that Sony's Horizon Zero Dawn remake is another curse, where Sony just happens to pick not the best fucking release dates. That does not help their games on launch. So I don't know how Horizon Zero Dawn's remake is doing, but all I can say is just like Monster Hunter Wilds beta was what a lot of fucking people are talking about and looking forward to playing, which they did in droves, starting this last Monday and over this past weekend.
Yeah. Either talk to me about collector's editions, man. I know you've been searching. Are there any special editions for Monster Hunter Wilds?
I can check right now. I forgot. But if there are, I can tell you I won't be getting one. This is my first Monster Hunter in a while. But I don't know. I can see myself getting a day one, but I don't think I will get it.
Oh, okay. Well, Church, have you seen anything?
Yeah, I mean, so you got the standard and the deluxe edition, and then plus like the ultimate edition, which is like 100 something. I'm probably gonna get that one. This is a game series. I don't question spending any money in it. Each time it's come out, I get some type of collector's edition. It's just always worth it, and the team's always giving out free content. And even the additional hairstyles or clothing options that come out later, they sell for like 50 cents or $1, right? So it's like the microtransactions are always fair. So I always try to support the team because I love what they do. I think I saw some crazy collector's edition, which is a bike that you can get or something with Monster Hunter. It was like $1,000. I would not be doing that one.
It's a
So
you get an e-bike.
an e-bike, yeah. And then yeah, I'm not gonna do that one. That's just kind of a little bit too much for me. That's too much. I
And
mean,
you call yourself a fan. No, I was kidding.
I know, right? How much do you really love the game?
He's gonna be like, you know what, I'm right, I'm doing it.
Yeah. Was my credit card. But yeah, so I'll probably pick that up. I haven't pre-ordered the game yet, but maybe after this beta I will. I'm in no rush, man. Pre-order day one, I'm gonna be there without question. What else in this game that it's been kind of
Oh,
cool?
I want to talk
Um,
about this. I think
what's
it's
up?
I think it's noticeable in a beta. I only crashed once. Otherwise, like no glitches, no bugs. I know people are reporting bugs, but I really haven't seen anything. And
Yeah.
this is the first time, Jarrell, in a while where like I think we really are back slowly getting back to the days where betas are betas again. Where like it's not like just here's a beta, the game comes out in 2 weeks. You're like, you don't have time to fix anything. So
Right.
I can say this game ran smooth. I think, like I said, I only crashed one time, but there's an asterisk that because it happened to crash, and then like 30 seconds later, my internet also crashed. So I don't know. That could have been on me. But otherwise, I really haven't experienced any bugs. I know there's videos of people like, they're like, oh, this cat turned orange. It used to be white. This game's unplayable. Nah. But it ran fucking, it ran great. So I don't know. I don't know. So again, coming from other AAA games that we've seen where games are buggy and servers crash, and you just told to fucking deal with it of like, oh wow, you're privileged. Just fucking, deal with it. Stop complaining. It just really is nice that Capcom has really polished this the fuck out. And this is only a beta. One thing to also note, just for if you're not already aware or people listening feel like you quote unquote missed out, they were public when you load this beta. Whatever you did in this beta will not carry over to your game. So if there's anyone that just had a fucking long week of work, you have Tuesday, Wednesdays off, you couldn't play the beta, you didn't quote unquote miss out. There's no FOMO. Anyone who fucking no life the beta, guess what? We're all starting from scratch day one.
Yeah. You can the character you can create actually goes over, but in terms of your gills and the stuff that you're grinding for in this game, because you can't really, go to the smithy and make a new weapon, right? Those features are like blocked. It's just here's the basic equipment that you started, at the very beginning of the game. Go have fun. I really like the beta to Arthur's point. Like I feel like a lot of online service games come out like a Concord, and it's like, okay, here's the beta. Next week is the actual game. This is actually giving us time to get the feedback, correct the game. And they're doing a big thing for this game series for the first time. It's going to be cross-play. So before it wasn't cross-platform, cross-play at all. So, PlayStation, Xbox, and PC players are all going to be playing with each other for the first time. So they're testing this system is huge for them. So it's pretty good. What else about the environment? It's kind of cool in terms of gathering stuff. You can kind of just use a hook shot to pick up everything. It seems like the field is plentiful. There's investigations in the game too. So there's like, it's interesting because the wilds have maybe 3 to 4 versions of the same monsters in the area, right? And it's like, okay, what's the incentive? Which one do I choose, right? And you can see the environment overview in some versions of the monsters may have like a wyvern gem. Like, okay, let me go hunt this one because it's actually like the apex version of this monster. It can give me a better drop. So it's not just hunt any random creature in the environment, even though you might see them in packs. It's like if you choose a specific one, the rewards can be plentiful. So that's a cool new feature there too. Love the day and night cycle so far. I think the nighttime and the dusk time is beautiful as well. There's a weather system in the game. It doesn't look too good right now currently. I mean, it's not bad, but I'm hoping the final version of the game they just kind of brush it again. But there's a certain creature that comes out like during like a lightning storm, and when he's on the field, like the particle effects are just amazing. So it gives you the sense of power that hey, there's monsters in this game that just don't exist in the jungle. Like there's some that affect the environment around them, and that's the most powerful creatures you're going to be fighting in the game. You're dealing with a creature that can harness lightning itself, and like what's the strategy around that? And it's pretty cool. The territory fights between monsters are cool. I've seen like a giant monster like go into a realm of like 10 small creatures like velociraptors, right? And they all just jump on him and he's getting his shit knocked like right completely too. So it's cool to see how smaller monsters are able to hold territory as the bigger ones are roaming around. There's just a lot to explore in this game. And this is only like zone one. And what's cool about the game is that you can go from zone to zone without a load screen. So in previous games, there might be like 4 or 5 different environments you go to: volcano, jungle, desert, and you would have to choose that environment. This one, you can like take a boat to like the jungle, climb the mountain, so you can seamlessly just run from one end to the other end of the map. So far, you can't do this in the beta though, but this is just something they say that you can do in the game. But other than that, man, I've been having a blast. So, yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. Very cool, man. Well, definitely. I don't know when the beta stops this week, but
Today.
well, I know as far as like I don't know if there's a time frame today, like
yeah.
besides like before midnight or 6 p.m. or PT or whatever. But if you guys have an hour or two of time to pod, I'm down to jump on.
Oh hell yeah! I'll rock that saxophone and buff you, my guy, with those fucking sexy jams.
So right on. I know another topic on the docket. Dragon Age Veilguard has gotten some really interesting reviews that deem to be positive, but a lot of those reviews seem to be also very similar in a sense. And there's been a loud few of reviews that have kind of not said the opposite. I've kind of said more of the honest factor, the honestness within the game, as far as it not being a terrible game, but there is a lot of like just repetitiveness in a bad way, and then also like some cringy like weirdness in the game too, where it's like they just kind of bypass like artist creativity and then just try to do something quote unquote moral to just so there's a lot of weirdness. So I wanted to Arthur, wanted you to kind of spearhead this, kind of give me your thoughts around what's kind of been going on with the Dragon Age Veilguard.
So, in terms of the quality of the game, including all aspects, dialogue, combat, story, I'll say it like the best way I can describe it is if any of you listening loved the Saints Row remake, you'll love Veilguard. It's the best. It's the best way to describe it, because the Saints Row remake was also a game that was like okay, riddled with horrible fucking dialogue. They made a lot of creative decisions that undid all the good faith its previous iterations had, and seems like this has done a lot of that. Though the quality of the gameplay is, I would say, a little better. So, little brief timeline is a while back, a bunch of YouTubers, influencers, game journalists were given pre-access to the game and were able to make videos on it, and there were NDAs about that. That time's come and gone. The second wave of that was early review codes, but not everyone that was given granted to this promotion event where they flew them out and they were able to make the videos, review the NDAs. Not everyone that went to that event was given these early access release codes. The public statement was there's early codes. There were they can only give out a few. The noticeable pattern, or I guess you could say arguable pattern that people are saying, was anyone that's negatively criticized the game, even constructively, weren't ones given review codes. And they're like, no, you're crazy. Don't believe that. Everyone that was given a fair opinion was given a review codes. And then the reviews from those that were given these early release keys, review codes, came out. And what to Joe was kind of introducing this topic was they were kind of near verbatim talking points, verbatim titles, verbatim criticisms as each other. The kind of joke or meme around this is Veilguard's Return to Form, because that was the title or exact verbatim phrasing in dozens of reviews. Rolling Stone, IGN, name a game journalist or a publication. That was the exact name of these titles. Dragon Veilguard will be Return to Form. And then it feels like for the influencer side of this, those few that were given early review codes, it seems like their go-to phrasing was Bioware is back, Bioware is back, Bioware is back. So it's like if you wanted to read an article on this, you were told either if you want to read an article on this right before the game came out, again, this is pre-launch, like the week leading up to the launch, articles you were telling you, hey, this game has returned to form. Copy and paste fucking talking points. And then if you want to watch a YouTube video on it from your favorite, from your, let's say, YouTubers, they were all saying, clickbait or saying, verbatim titles and thumbnails, Bioware's back, Bioware's back, Bioware's back. And immediately creating skepticism amongst fans and kind of creating the division where, oh, if you're skeptical about this, you just hate the game and hate developers. It was like, no, you can be skeptical without picking quote unquote a side. So the game comes out, and a lot of what people are skeptical about kind of comes to a point to fruition. And I'll sum this up before we really get into it by saying, if you really look at all sides and all reviews in this, it seems like the gameplay is good but shallow. You can't get too much in depth to it. It seems like the difficulty is on the lower end. A lot of people are saying that they feel that there needs to be more difficulties to this, or have the enemies be a little different. Some people are saying that one of your first combos or special moves you can get for each class will carry you throughout the entire game, even towards some of these more quote unquote difficult bosses. The dialogue is by far what is holding this game back. If I had to sum up the dialogue in kind of a brief snippet, is for a lot of people, understandably, it's like this game is an HR meeting in the background of a fantasy game. The story, the campaign, the plot points seem to be a positive, and a lot of people that it's unfortunate. So a lot of people that actually just like a lot of people that find this dialogue cringe and annoying, kind of like 2024 Twitter speak in their fantasy game, are still coming back to the game because the plot points and the dialogue, the plot points and the actual overarching story of the main campaign is enticing. But the unfortunate thing that again, it's where players feel hindered of like, oh, I want to play this game? Do I not want to play this game? Is the companions. BioWare is known up until now for having some of the best companions in gaming, whether it's Star Wars Knights of the Republic, the Mass Effect trilogy, every other Dragon Age up until now. And it's unfortunate here in Dragon Age Veilguard, a lot of people are saying, understandably, that the companions are some of the weakest part of this game. So it's like the minimal gameplay and a story that people want to try is what's really kind of making people play to finish this game. But since they've also already announced Drill, I'm not sure you heard this too, they're deal game. This is it. Like, this is Veilguard is out. And I think the divisiveness that Joel's speaking of is there's all the HR crap, woke, if you want to use a word, that's really creating divisiveness for people. Like, one, this game is unplayable. No, it's not. It's playable, but it's not a one. And then on the other hand, I want to hear Church's opinion on this, where a lot of people are saying, no, it's the best game ever, 10, 10, 10. And according to the Steam reviews, at the time of recording this, supposedly Veilguard's better than Elden Ring, Shadow of Victory, which is like, so what the fuck is it? Is it the original form? Is BioWare back? Is this game better than Elden Ring? Or is it a one? Or maybe it's just an accurate 6, 7 that people are saying. So that's kind of where we're at. That's the best brief overview I can describe of this situation of, once again, the divide between actual customers and game journalists in the modern day, with Veilguard being another fucking example.
Yeah, I have some thoughts on this, but I want to tie it to Church first, or take Church first. Church, what are your thoughts on this? And obviously, this is a big asterisk conversation because I don't think any of us have literally played Veilguard, so we're basing this off of speculation and it's kind of our thoughts and opinions, which we are entitled to, right? You have the corner guy that you have the corner guy that tells the boxer, hey, you should probably do this, and they may or may not have been in a fight, but some of their analysts, points may be relevant because they may fucking win the fight if they follow those instructions. But nevertheless, Church, what are your thoughts on kind of what's been going on from like the review perspective, and if you see kind of maybe a pattern of bias or what have you?
Yeah, so when I first saw Dragon Age, I was kind of interested in the game because of the art style and aesthetic. I like the colors. I like the cartoony kind of look they had. It would kind of remind me of Fable a little bit in terms of the aesthetic going forward. So I was like, okay, this kind of looks interesting. My hopes for the game was probably like a 7 or 8. Now, I haven't played any of the previous Dragon Age games, right? And there was a lot of expectation because of the legacy of Bioware when it comes to this series. I don't have that expectation with the name Bioware next to it because it got destroyed with Anthem at that point. So I accepted the fact that this game is just a new team of people with Bioware name only. But I still would like to have the great RPG storylines and side quests that we expected from Old Republic, Jade Empire for me, and then just Mass Effect in general. In terms of like media bias, it's kind of weird. It's like some of them I've never seen so many mainstream media people disagree with each other, right? This seemed like a shoe in, like, hey, everybody say the game's good, right? We all going to say the game's good, right? And then some people do and some people don't. Arthur, I think, brings up a good point. Well, return to form is either like, here's what you're supposed to say about the game kind of conspiracy, or just the lack of lazy journalism. What else can we say back? It's like, it's return to form. Like, why? Because this is the first game in like what 6 7 years or something. We'll just keep moving. In terms of the combat in the game, it looks fine to me. I don't think this is a Monster Hunter game where I'm looking for great combat depth. In terms of these Bioware games that I've played recently, I think it looks a little bit more engaging to what they presented before. I think Anthem was the first step out in terms of having something very action packed. And when it comes to like the old Dragon Age gameplay, which just looks like you're holding down R2 the entire time. But when I look at it, it seems like it's a little bit more fun, a little bit more flashy, and you got some kill to move. So it looked like it would just do the job. I'm just not looking at anything in depth. I haven't played the game yet, but the reviews itself, it kind of has me concerned because of the dialogue. I've seen some of these cutscenes, some of the cringe cutscenes that I've seen too, where it just I don't know if I'm coming at the end of a side quest. What's that 2 minute cutscene? And the characters are talking to each other. It just seems like these are not real friendships between the people. These are like, let me not step on eggshells at the office because, we are in a professional work environment and this is how you, kind of talk around this conversation. Or even worse, it's how you kind of talk to a kid, like, hey, if this conversation comes up, this is how you approach the topic. And this is why it's important. And if you don't know why it's important, let me explain. And it's just, I don't think that's how real people talk. At least our age, you know, that we're all like, 20, early 30s at this point. It's just weird. It's disappointing. I don't like the dialogue in general at all. It's pretty bad. Yeah. Let's see. I mean, I think I'll still pick up the game to play it, so to speak. I'm not disappointed it doesn't have DLC. I gotta see how long it is. This is something that I'm interested into playing just to see how it is. But I don't expect greatness from it. I'm hoping that I can have maybe like 20 hours of fun and just call it a day, just move on. In terms of, yeah, that's it. That's kind of my thoughts on it.
Yeah. So there's an interesting narrative around this game. Kind of been trying pulling up to some stuff and more on the, I would say, on the qualitative side as far as kind of gearing up. Like, what is this game really, right? Because I don't necessarily think it's in the same category as that new Saints Row, but there are some attributes that definitely kind of dive into that bag a little bit. So just looking at like Steam DB info, right? There's about 81,000 players playing Dragon Age Veilguard right now, right? I mean, that is a fairly impressive number for an RPG. And then obviously the reviews is what we're talking about as far as like, some of the stuff seems, some of these reviews seem kind of similar, saying return to form. I've even seen that literally in some of these blurbs here. And there's a user review. Obviously, user review scores are always much lower than like the journalist reviews. But there is one blurb that I find interesting that I'll quote here in just a second. But just to give a little bit on some of these other blurbs. So Ravi Sinha from hope I pronounced that correctly, from Gaming Bolt, he gave it a 7 out of 10. He said Dragon Age Veilguard is a serviceable addition to the series, but falls short in nearly every metric that made it great. The Aldra Bowling from RPG Van says it has heart and plenty of emotion, alongside a found family cast with some of the best personal character quest lines I've experienced in a game. It's evident that there is deep respect for the Dragon Age lore in games that came before, and I love how the Veilguard takes vital points of how so many Bioware games and builds up upon them. However, you do have folks from this one was from Noob Feed. It said we were really hoping Dragon Age Veilguard would be the big satisfying comeback that would remind us of why Bioware was once an RPG powerhouse, but it doesn't make the cut. Instead, it makes us wonder if BioWare can still create games like the Mass Effect trilogy and the early Dragon Age titles as they did. If this is the future of what Dragon Age holds, maybe it's time to give the series a break. This user review score here, I find to be very kind of hits the nail on the head here. So this is from Bruno Almeida 557, but it says here in quote, Veilguard is the title that least resembles any Dragon Age experience I've ever known. That would be a good thing if there was some kind of innovation that added positive points to the franchise, but that's not the case here. First, Veilguard is very competent when we talk about technical aspects, graphics, animations, art direction, etc. But the core, the story, the dialogues, the plot, everything that makes a BioWare game so beloved, nothing makes the slightest sense in this one. The dialogues are horrible. There's cringe. Even seems like a conversation between teenagers from a TikTok generation. The choices don't have the same impact as in the previous games. And seems like the game forces you to choose that. And okay, that's it. Our companions are all artificial. Their personalities can't reflect a feeling or emotion, and that's where I want to get to this point. Inclusion and diversity. It says, look, I'm gay, and honestly, every time the game tries to convey a message of awareness, it's something totally artificial, and it makes no sense, and it's done in such a stereotypical and stupid way that even for me, who's part of this community, I feel embarrassed. Imagine for an ordinary person, with all due respect to your writers, but please stop. You're doing it wrong. You're hurting us who are here on the streets every time you do this. We're the ones who pay the price here anyway. Veilguard was another disappointment. So I just find that to be really telling, because you have a lot of these fucking companies that they think they're doing a service to those groups of when we're talking about inclusion, but it's like inclusion the wrong fucking way, like totally the wrong way, right? And like we were talking about a little bit before, it might have been off the pod, I don't remember now, I'm too old. But as far as taking something that is a moral compass or what have you, or their perspective of moral compass, and then applying it in an artistic sense. Like, I feel like Last of Us does that very well. It's one of those things where it's like, okay, this character's this character's this, but the game isn't telling you what to believe, like what to say or what to think or how to feel. They're just telling you, yeah, this person doesn't like this person because of X, Y, and Z, and this person is obviously that. That's just, but it's not the main part of the story. The story keeps continuing on, but these are the attributes of those characters, right? And I think that's a very real thing. And I think it's, as far as artistic direction, to me, that is more compelling because it's an example of a real situation versus PSA. Let's force feed, a moral message to make us awesome, so that, and it seems like that tends to be kind of a narrative for a lot of these newer games. Case in point, the game is being played. I'm very curious to see how the game numbers will be on that Steam DB over the next coming weeks. Obviously the game came out, so people were like, okay, let's dive into this. I'm curious to see how those numbers are going to be over time. For me, obviously, I'm not going to be paying $60, $70 for this game. It's just, I would rather play Elden Ring, instead of Erdtree before diving into something like this. Definitely disappointing, though. I mean, if we're going to talk about BioWare, right? We've talked about this time and time again, Arthur, as far as this is not the same BioWare that you know of. Even just taking away like the whole, the whole inclusion nonsense or whatnot, just talking about the game as a whole, the really great dialogue, really great decision making, and how they actually impact. I always talk about this with my brother as far as why as far as that Mass Effect save feature from the first game, second and third game, that's one of the most genius mechanical things I've seen in a video game ever. I can take my same character and decisions and roll them over to the sequels of the game. That's fucking incredible, especially as someone who plays RPGs. How many hundreds of hours you put into this, and there's actually implications and things things that can allude to whatever you're doing throughout. Like that's incredible. And that is not talked about enough, and it's not done enough. I don't know if it's an EA patent or something, but that's fucking insane, and that's what made me buy the old school Mass Effect trilogy again to go through that, because I'm like, no one does this, and people should be doing this, so. It's sad that this seems to be. It seems like they tried to package Veilguard in a sense where, yeah, we want it to be hard hitting, gameplay. This is this, but we want to incorporate this other bullshit to try to get to the kids and, try to have this stance because we want this to be presented to the gamers. It's like, you guys, it's like people that work on games that don't play them, if that makes sense. And that's kind of the feeling that I get, and that kind of makes me veer away from a lot of these video game companies, watching their reviews, listening to their podcasts, even kind of funny. I've steered away from it because there's a lot of weird divisive choices that they make. Sometimes they hit the nail on the head, and sometimes they make really dumb decisions, like not reviewing Hogwarts, the Hogwarts game, because of what's her fucking name?
J.K. because J.K. Rowling wrote the Harry Potter books.
Yeah, and the whole trans thing, right? She talked about the trans stuff, but it's just that has nothing to do with the developers who made this game. You not reviewing this stuff is a disservice to them because they made a good fucking game and it sold more than Call of Duty that year. That's to be noted. Fuck you guys. Kind of funny. That's not cool. So, and then obviously with Veilguard, no one really talking about, maybe it's not an elephant in the room, but it's a fucking big ass cat in the room or something in the room, as far as some of it seems a little biased, so there's they decided to pick and choose, and obviously if it's a business decision, whatever, but that's inauthentic, and I don't fuck with that. So that's kind of where I stand as far as with Veilguard. Case in point for me, at the end of the day, if I were to play it, it would be at a very discounted price. I kind of wish there was a demo for it. It's kind of weird that there isn't a demo for it, especially because it's an RPG. But
dude, I could. Oh, sorry, John. I could tell you why there's no demo. We didn't get the name of the game until a month before launch. There's a lot of last minute. There was a last minute.
I know. Remember? It was, what was it, Dreadwolf or something like that, or
Dreadwolf or Wolfsbane. Pretty much It's really interesting, real quick, because the opening cutscene reminds you what the name of the game could have been. It's like the company Dreadwolf or the company Wolfsbane. You're like, immediately reminds you, fuck, that's a cooler name. But yeah, I'm personally not surprised this game didn't get a demo. When we only got gameplay 3 weeks before launch.
Yeah, and that's a shame too. It's a shame, especially for an RPG. It absolutely should have been. And definitely there's this. And I think a lot of people have talked about this too. One day I want to get a fucking developer on the show, but yeah, I feel like there's a lot of weird toxic positivity workspace stuff happening too, which, you can say that it's a new generation definition. I'm like, well, we're just defining what things are. Sorry, but people have said verbatim, if someone says this should be fixed or whatever, even if it's in a constructive way, they're kind of cast it out and gaslit, and I was like, oh, you're just against us, just we're stuff like that, So we'll see here. As far as for other shit on the docket here for the show, obviously, Indiana Jones. Go ahead, please.
Oh, I'll say I still got some stuff for Veilguard. Because you're saying how I feel like toxic positivity that we believe had to have been present for this writing. Yeah, I feel like it's just another new word for something that we had to describe in previous iterations, which is like yes man. This is like the same type of vibe of what happens when it's just like a circle juke in a room of like, oh, this is awesome. Yes, 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 it's great, it's great, it's great. And then that whereas again, whether you want to describe it, for those, that's older heads as a yes man mentality, or to the newer kids as toxic positivity, both result in the same thing, which is either a lack of creativity or different ideas or perspectives, or opinions. But either way, your product is resulting in the same, or that you amongst yourselves thinks it's awesome, and all of a sudden you're shocked of why people outside your bubble don't think it's awesome. That's what happens regardless of the industry, the medium, the art form, the music, whatever it is. That's just what happens when you have yes men, or aka toxic positivity. A lot of people are describing the dialogue in these playthroughs that you can watch now. For a lot of people, is people are describing it as if an HR rep was in the room while they were writing this dialogue, because it does feel again whether you're in the fence, you don't describe it as woke, even constructively, it does feel, it removes the immersion of an RPG, a role-playing game. It does break your immersion when you have, like I said, 2020 24 internet TikTok speak in this fantasy RPG. Drell, something that you and I talked about on a previous episode was also the overall aesthetic and character creation. It definitely doesn't feel like Dragon Age. Dragon Age Tournament's original core was very gritty, very violent, very dark, very apocalyptic style worlds. This is one of the few RPGs where it feels like, yeah, you know what? If you get that meme that hits your algorithm of you're stuck in the last game you play, you're an NPC, you're a regular villager in the last game you played. Will you survive in this game? Kinda. This seems pretty chill in this place. It, you know what I mean? It doesn't feel as dark and gritty as that. And like Gerald, like you and I were describing, like the character design, it feels like everyone's in a Maybelline commercial. Like everyone's too clean, everyone's too smooth.
The Sims
Sims creator.
Yeah.
That one of the main characters.
I like the design.
They're too clean.
I like the character.
Yeah. No, I mean to each his own.
But again, asterisk being you're playing the Dragon Age game, whereas this is not the aesthetic of a Dragon Age game. One thing I'll kind of end on is for me. I'll go ahead, Church. Go ahead. I have one last thing, so go ahead. No, it's kind of its own thing. Okay. One thing for me, when it comes to these new creative teams, these new designers, these new artists, these new people that weren't really there during these previous iterations, it almost feels like, even though this is a quote unquote sequel or a next iteration of this IP, it, for me, to a point, it's almost as if it's equivalent like of a remake or redo, because it's so different. And Jarrell, I'll say this, a game I was hyped for when it got like announced or teased. When it got teased, dude, this is the team that's like leading BioWare, and like this is their writing style. Again, whether you want to call it toxic positivity or what I like to call it just yes men, is I honestly, Jarrell, the way I describe it, you know me, I couldn't give two shits about the new Mass Effect. I can't, because this won't be the new Mass Effect. It won't be Mass Effect. It'll be their version of it. Joel, you're talking about comments and reviews. One of the biggest, I forget it was a YouTube comment or a review of the game, is when it comes to this type of situation where we have a new team behind the wheel that have just taken this IP, taken this aesthetic, taken this playstyle, and changed it so much, not in a sense of a different direction because they want to try something new. Because one example of that is the new Final Fantasy 16 is very, very, very action combat based compared to the old one. But that felt more like a constructed decision, not an aesthetic, quote unquote, moral compass behind the scenes decision like this one.
Yeah, we're
like
the good guys.
Yeah, because I don't know. So because of this, it just feels like if this is a new team behind BioWare, that's already let me know that like whatever this new Mass Effect's going to be, it won't be the old. Yeah, it'll have the name Shepard. Yeah, it'll have the name Liara, but it really won't be Mass Effect that what it was. it'll be Mass Effect in title. But what I was saying to in the comments, I was saying is it's like I think the comment was like, "Hi, I'm involved with this game because I'm a fan. I'm a fan of this franchise. Why'd you change so much? Oh, because it was so problematic and had to be changed. Then why are you a fan? You know what I mean? It's just one of these things like I like this thing for what it was, but I'm gonna make it better because in my way. Then it's like, well, then it's not that. And we've seen this in other video game forms like the Halo show and like other failed remakes like Saints Row and just other things that could be in that category. Like so that snippet of that mentality behind it is like I'm involved in blank, but I'm gonna change X, Y, and Z. Okay, well then it's not X. Then it's not what it was anymore. That don't act like it is, and don't piss my leg calling me it's rain. Tell me this is exactly what it like what it before. So I don't know. It's just unfortunate that again that this is the direction that Bioware is and the quality of games that they're doubling down, saying, "Yep, this is good. Fuck you if you don't like it. You know, you're wrong." Well, then I'm not looking forward to and most likely Ben probably won't even remotely buy the new Mass Effect when it comes out.
Go ahead, Church.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll play a little bit of devil's advocate or just a different opinion. I've never played the Dragon Age games, right? So in terms of like marketing for new players, the aesthetic of this game got me immediately. I like how the game looks, right? I think it did its job to get somebody new to the franchise. So it looks good to me. I don't think the customization is limited. You know, like I agree with the critiques there. I think some of the critiques with the dragon race people with the horns, they look stupid. I would never choose those characters whatsoever. But in terms of like the frames, the aesthetic of the city, I like how it looks. I think it's a mass improvement. I mean, I understand like those dark, gritty games, but someone that's new to the series, I have Dark Souls for that, right? I have Elden Ring if you want a dark fantasy type of game. I feel like that need has been met somewhere else. And that's how I kind of look at Dragon Age. I mean, I'm looking through old gameplay of Origins and Inquisition, and the gameplay, man, is not that inspiring from like PS3. If you guys just look
Origins
it up right
did
now.
not age well. The story is really good, but the gameplay did not age well for Origins. I'll tell you that.
Right, right. So when I look at Veilguard, right, and I'm like, the combat is much in the bubble compared to the previous series. The combat looks better. It looks like it plays better from the previous generation. So, like, if the team was looking at it like, okay, how can we make the game look better, attract new players? I think they did a good job. I like the aesthetic. In terms of combat, it looks like it's a funner action-paced combat, right? To keep up with it, I'm okay with that. The story itself, I have to play the game. BioWare is known for the story itself, but for what I've seen in the side quests, it just seems kind of shitty. And that's because, like, if you in the room and somebody say, "Hey, let's make a trans storyline in this game for dead naming," how do you say no to that in the meeting without losing your job? Like, tell me how do you say it's like, why don't we? It's like you'd be like, Arthur, why don't you want that in the game? What's wrong with having that in the game? How do you say no to that without looking like a dick, right? And that's why this stuff gets added to the game, in my humble opinion. Is because when these controversial topics come up, I don't even know if it's controversial, sensitive would be most of it, right? Like, okay, yes, I understand what you want to do, but like, is there a place in the story that we're telling for the game? And I think that's just understanding where you want to go from the beginning to the end of the game, what type of story that you want to tell, right? And whether or not you choose to make it a fantasy story or you decide to make a story that's mirrored real life politics or real life problems. I don't always need to have a mirror of in my game, like a subtext, because sometimes I play video games, I want some escapism, right? I want the fantasy. I want the politics of the world that I'm visiting, the immersiveness. I don't need to be reminded of the real shit that everybody goes through every single day, you know? I don't need that in every single game. But I don't know. And I think a lot of people are feeling that way and they're saying the story's suffering. And maybe that's just bad writing. Maybe it's just not being told very well, right?
That's what I think. I agree with everything you're saying. I think bad writing is the crux, right? Because there is a lot of political, like fuck this race, fuck that race in the old Mass Effect games. Like that was there, right. You know what I mean? But it was just done really well. Like the writing was so good. Same with the there's a lot of there's a few politic things in Fallout as well, right?
Sure.
So yeah, so this just, and I agree with you as far as like, yeah, I don't need that in, like, I don't care to have that in every game. I think that's a valid point and makes sense too. Like, I don't care to understand the socioeconomic situations of what Mario goes through. You know what I mean? For Super
How
Smash
many block
Bros.
coins do we have left? Okay.
Yeah.
Like, what can we
Taking
do?
all the coins.
Right.
But I'm sorry, go ahead, please continue.
Yeah, I mean, so to me, the game, I think Bioware in general is how I feel about some of these legacy studios of old from the early 2000s. Well, they were so innovative and creative that other studios were influenced by them and made a better version of their games that already exist. So when Bioware comes out again and they're just continuing on a formula that they've known for years, they're no longer innovating. So it's like the better Bioware game has already existed. It's just made from a different company, right? It's like probably Cyberpunk 2077, right? It's one of those things. It's like, what is the expectations from these companies? I look at them as old games that are getting a new modern take on the update. Like, I look at old Bethesda games with the terrible hack and slash animations, and I'm hoping like now it's better. It looks better from what they were before. Now you get 3D animations instead of just like diagonal. It's I don't know. I think it's improvement from where they come, but are they at the top of the industry no more? No, it's fine. I'm not jaded by it. I'll play the top of the industry games. People are going to do it good, and I'll pick up Dragon Age. I'll support it for a little bit, but no means do I think it's the next shit. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Bioware shuts down after this.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Arthur.
I'll say, I don't know. One thing, I'll just say a quick thing to your church. You're saying, if you want to play dark, gritty games like Dark Souls, Elden Ring, I'm going to ask you, why play those games? This game's getting reviewed better. Why'd you play a lesser game?
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Why did you play a lesser game than Dragon Age?
Yeah,
Idiot?
I forgot. Yeah, you're right. Right. If you go by score alone, I'm wrong. Yeah, you're right.
Fuck. Let me put away Dragon Age. Let me play this trash game. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Elden Ring. I played best the best. It is Veilguard. Let me
You got to
deal
push
this
through, I guess.
Hot take, guys. Elden Ring's barely playable. I don't know. I'm just playing. I just been playing 3 hours at Veilguard. I'll guess I'll dirty myself by touching this from software game.
To me, and I think that to me that's the real tragedy of this whole thing, right? Is that I think you have a point as far as the making the gameplay more appealing than Inquisition and Dragon Age 2 and Origins. I mean, I'll just say as far as the game, from a gameplay perspective, I'll say Veilguard is more engaging, at least visually and advertising to that degree. I remember working with one of the game advisors at GameStop, huge Dragon Age fan. Like, he had shit tattooed on him. He would talk about different quest lines, and then various things going on with the game. Dragon Age is very intricate. It's just as intricate as Mass Effect. At least from the original Mass Effect games, where you had people that knew shit about space and had PhDs and wrote stuff that seemed very authentic. So very similar to the Dragon Age world, right? And the story was the biggest component. Now, gameplay, completely different story, right? And I think Veilguard did a good job on that attraction, just from an advertising perspective. I was excited to play the game, but when it comes to, what makes BioWare, a big part of that was the writing, and like you said, you have a good point. If you have someone who's like, well, they don't know how to communicate, how can we make a trans story, for example, or a transgender story within a game authentic, and how to communicate that in a way that isn't going to that's going to be offensive or to them, or just kind of write you off or fire you or whatever. I could see the heat in those meetings, right? Or that, and that's kind of where that toxic positivity comes from, where it's at least hear me out, before you just write me off. It's I think this is great, but can we do this in an authentic manner? You know what I mean? And not where it's just, you know, it's almost offensive to those actual people that we're doing the story about. To me, that's completely counterintuitive, you know, and a lot of games do that. A lot of art styles do that. So
yeah, imagine being the project manager that greenlit that. Like, yeah, go ahead. That sounds awesome. And they finally see it. Like, how do you tell them it's bad? Like, how? Like, like, the only way you could do that is to do what's the test screenings,
case study or something.
Case study.
Research. Bring in people of said community.
Yeah.
I know it's not Apple's one thing, but like. When there's like,
you know, honest, still they think
like,
they're gonna offend.
they do get compensation in some way, shape, or form.
But you know what I mean? It's like we're to a point, you know, we're all agreeing. It feels like someone wrote this and I look to their friend who's in that community, like, hey, we're cool, right? See you tomorrow on Sunday. Like, we're getting beers. And it's like you didn't do it right. And insensitive is actually is a much more accurate topic. But all I know is the next time any of you guys, you know, wrong me, I expect fucking push-ups.
And I gotta watch a 3-minute video on what
6 months from now we're all ripped, like
right.
I like the quiet implications of that. I change a shit, Arthur. I'm getting a 6-pack. Fuck you, fat ass.
What's been your motivation? What makes you get up in the morning every day to go to the gym?
I'm apologizing for nothing.
I'm healthier now than I've ever been.
What's your routine? Violence and violent offensiveness.
Holy shit, that's hilarious. That is hilarious. Yeah, as far I guess kind of
New Year's resolution coming up. Sorry.
Oh man, that's better than, like, you know, put money in the jar. You know what I mean? When you're swearing.
It's like the way I described when I was a kid, because I have an impressive tolerance for hot sauce, and like I said, dad's white, mother's Mexican, and back in the day, some kids used to have soap in the mouth. My mom used to put like dangerous level of like hot sauce, and like I'm not saying I was a bad kid, but I got my tolerance pretty early, so I can see what Joe's talking about with the 6-pack. Let's just say with the 6-pack. So yeah, if I wouldn't cuss as much as a kid, I wouldn't have got as much hot sauce. But then I've also wouldn't have won so many jalapeno contests. So what the you gotta do what you gotta do.
That's really intense too, by the way. That's like Jesus.
That's how it was, Dad. Kids today nowadays like sriracha, it burns.
Oh, shit.
2 push-ups, Mom.
Yeah, man. So I guess moving on from this, as far as just any of the lasting things, were there any hot buttons or topics, or it's fucking November, right? It's crazy.
I know.
Black Ops is out. Black Ops 6 is out. Some people like
it.
Oh yeah.
And everyone has to be online to play the campaign.
Oh yeah. I was Drill. I forgot when I was in the pod or in a group chat where like I don't know if you should talk on the podcast, but Church, I definitely was carbonating myself because I've had no idea that Call of Duty campaigns have not been cooperative for some time.
Yeah.
That cooperative campaign is the only thing that would have brought me back to Game Pass of me and Jarrell playing Black Ops 6 cooperative and be like, oh fuck, we gotta play Russian roulette where Ice Cube dies again. I don't fucking know, man. But then Jarrell's like, no, there's Arthur. It's not solo. Like, again, what? But your campaign's not cooperative. So, hey, what's up, PS5? How you doing?
Right. Right.
One last thing. Oh, Joe, a good news that you'll like is we it's been a joke that Black Ops and Activision don't know how to compress their data, and Black Ops has absurd storage sizes. But I found out that through my friend telling me this, that the multiplayer has a separate download entirely, so you don't have to download the campaign or the main game. The multiplayer alone is only like 35.
Smart.
The multiplayer mode alone is only like 35 gigs.
Smart. Yeah, especially because learning that the campaign, you have to be online all the time to play the campaign and to beat the campaign. I'm like, Wow, that's fucking crazy. So, and a lot of people just play multiplayer anyway for Black Ops. Like, I mean, I think the average study was like people come back like maybe an average of like 6 months after after playing the multiplayer, they come back to play the campaign. I think they've never played it before, so it's like holy shit.
That online campaign, FYI, the online component will continue because remember, for all Blizzard games, remember it's Activision Blizzard. For all Blizzard games, you have to have an active BlizzNet account. So I think Activision definitely adopted that from their now sibling, Blizzard. So that's probably gonna be a norm,
Yeah,
moving forward. Because I say that only because I've been used to it from Blizzard, and I forgot they've been their partner now. So yeah, so offline Call of Duty just doesn't exist anymore.
yeah. I'm really hoping for some type of like some really good November sales. Obviously, I'm a PC guy, so I'm looking forward to this Steam sale for November. I'm hoping I can get Black Myth Wukong at least $20 off. I'd love to dive into to get that Dragon Ball Sparking Zero at a discounted price. Probably won't touch Veilguard unless it's $20. You know
I'm
what I
debating.
mean?
Yeah, I'm debating whether to buy it or wait for like Game Pass to come out.
Oh
'Cause
yeah.
it's one of those things. But you guys don't have Game Pass, so it is what it
Well,
is.
I would have gotten it.
It's
but
$2, bro. Just get it. It's
I mean,
$2.
I
Not
could get a really good Diet Coke
fine.
for that.
I mean, like you could spend $2. You get to play Indiana Jones, and we could talk about it on the pod. Or it's just going to be me talking about Indiana.
It'll
Jones.
just be you. Just to reiterate, I've called it from day one. Indiana Jones is gonna be lackluster. Again, just watch this Veilguard gameplay right now, and then watch that gameplay. But real quick, when it comes
What
to
do you think?
discounts,
I've never thought Indiana Jones was going to be set like a 10 out of 10 game. I'm thinking like a 7.5 or an 8. Right? I think it's going to be
6.
like. You think it's going to be a 6?
Yeah, it has Bethesda. I'm telling you, it has Bethesda written all over it. I've been in their trenches for a while.
But it's Machinima. Like Wolfenstein's been great.
The second I saw like a week like that week punch like there's no oomph behind it, I'm like ooh that's not gonna be good. I don't know.
think it's gonna be 758. I'm actually
Yeah.
because I'm hearing more. There's more development articles. I'm hearing that like, oh, this actually looks a lot better than it seems. It's not gonna be like a 10 out of 10. It's not gonna be an Uncharted, an Uncharted level. But
Yeah,
I'm
I'm not
sure
hoping
it's solid.
I'm not hoping for it to fail. Let me be clear. I'm not like rooting for its fail. I'm just definitely not at all optimistic.
Very skeptical. Understandable.
Very, very, very skeptical. And I'll say real quick when it comes to you guys looking at discounts, remember you're fucking welcome because the whole world's going on sale to celebrate my birthday. So enjoy it. You're fucking welcome. Happy birthday to me. Go get those fucking discounts.
And you actually got the games you wanted, right? Because the last few birthdays, it's like, what do you mean it's not a Game Pass?
Right.
Dude, if
I go, what you wanted this year.
If next year a Warhammer game is supposed to come out late November on Game Pass and it gets delayed, I'm putting $100 on Powerball. I'm not fucking joking. Like, there's no way I'm gonna go 3 for 3 of birthday Warhammer Game Pass releases getting delayed and taken off Game Pass. There's no fucking way. I will send you a receipt if this time next year, late November or mid to late November, there's supposed to be a Warhammer Game Pass game coming out, and that shit gets delayed or removed from Game Pass. Y'all just expect your picture in the group shot like your boy's putting up fucking Benjamin on Powerball. There's no fucking way, dude.
and Church, you still owe me for that bet we had where
Yeah,
I said, right. So just give me a month of Game Pass, bro. We'll be square.
Just how do I gift that? That's no problem, bro. I got you. Do you want it in December so you can play Indiana Jones? Like, what do you want to do?
Yeah, so we can talk about it.
Let's do it. I do have something about Indiana Jones real quick. Apparently, I didn't look on that. It's a story DLC behind the premium edition of the game. I know that just. What are you guys' thoughts? I know that just boys.
Drell's face looks like he loves it.
Can you say it one more time because you cut out during it?
Yeah. So in the
Probably
premium edition of Indiana Jones, the story DLC hidden behind that paywall. Yeah, it's
Drell's so hyped. He's like,
I
yo,
know.
Hey, Todd Howard, you make that fucking money, man. Get your stacks.
I really hate that they do that from a story perspective. Like, I get it, but then I don't get it. Like, if it's like a side DLC mission, like obviously that's been happening for decades. but like story content where I have to buy, like that's very Ubisofty.
The Order of the Giants story DLC. So it's not like it's not the Great Circle. It's the Order of the Giants, man. Like whatever that is, whatever that is.
Eli Manning comes out of retirement. Oh shit! No, I thought
I'm looking to figure out how do I get this DLC? Like how can I pay for it? And the only way I can pay for it is like $34 as a Game Pass subscriber. $34.
Damn.
And that comes with like different outfits and then the story DLC. And I'm like, I don't know. Like how do I play this game? And maybe
Did
when
do
I
something
like
similar for Starfield, or is that just early release?
no, it's just it's not like early. Well, actually,
No, I'm saying because Starfield did something similar, but I forgot what else came with it.
hold on, I'm fucking tripping. If you get the premium upgrade, you get 3-day early access for Indiana Jones. So they're going Starfield route. Yeah, Arthur's correct. They're going the Starfield route.
Just call me Nostradamus. Let's go.
That's what they doing.
Arthur smelled that bullshit far away. He was like, nah, bro.
Yeah. He's got it right. Yeah. December 5th. Ooh. 4 p.m. Let's go.
God damn.
Oh my god.
What's that? Todd Howard bullshit. Oh, fucking called it. Yeah, let's go. Because Starfield had something similar. If you remember, there was like the game, but you can pay $30. You can pay $30 for early access plus cosmetic stuff. So when he was saying this, I'm like, we've been here before. This is something's in the air.
3 days early, man. Ooh. What are you doing? I don't know.
Saving $30. I
can tell you what I'm doing. I don't know. I might have spent it, but I ordered 2 Jarrell at this point.
Shit. Yeah, we'll talk about Indiana Jones in the future. Well, I don't want to waste anyone's time here if we don't have much other news here. Slow news because it's the end of the year. People are playing games, eating good shit, and playing what's out. So I'm gonna wrap it up here a little early. Any lasting thoughts? Hopefully you play Monster Hunter here in the next few 30 or so.
I'll pour some wild turkey and hop on.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, right on. Well, folks, that's going to wrap it up here for the Gamers Life podcast. Of course, each and every Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, discussing that gaming shit. I'm one of your hosts, Jarrell. With me is Choich and Arthur. All right, thank you guys. We'll see you next time.